Someone's at the door. Ho ho ho! Oh, Santa. It's just you. How you doing? Hey, Merry Christmas. How are you? How you doing? How you doing?
Well, hello there. Have you been good this year?
Well, yeah, of course I've been good this year. I've been making videos and working and taking care of the family. What do you mean, have I been good this year?
Likely story. Let me check. You get coal.
Oh man. Coal? Awesome.
Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh. O'er the fields we go, laughing all the way.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Cast Cooking. Yeah, unfortunately, I was put on the naughty list. Why? Pretty sure it has something to do with me making a brisket video on my cell phone. Who does that? I do, apparently. This is a brisket video that's going to be shot on the normal camera, so hopefully it'll be a little better quality for you. What we have here is an 8.5 pound Packer brisket. Picked it up in my local Sam's Club. It was $2.75, $2.76 a pound, something like that. The last one in my last video was 18 pounds pre-trimmed. This is 8.5 pounds pre-trimmed. So this was a completely thawed brisket. We took it out of the package. I put it in the freezer for probably 45 minutes or so. Why? Because briskets are much easier to trim when they're colder. You don't want it frozen, but you want it almost there. I mean, you don't want to freeze it at all. You just want it real cold so it's nice and it's harder than a room temperature brisket. Now, what we're gonna do here to trim it, this is a prime brisket, by the way. You can see that little section of fat right there. That's the decal. Usually it's a lot bigger and pronounced than this. This is a smaller brisket. On this side, it looks pretty good down here. You want a 1/4 inch of fat over here, rule of thumb. You can trim more, you can trim less. It's up to you. You can spend as much time or as little time trimming these things as possible as you want. We're gonna get rid of most of this here and probably take some down on the edges here. So let's just start with the meatier looking side. I'm gonna get rid of this glove. So it's looking pretty good on this side already. But we want to get rid of this little ridge right here. And I think we're gonna take down a little side right here. So we'll just get our knife in there and kind of get rid of that. Now I'm saving the trimmings off this brisket. You can use that in place of bacon grease to cook food with. You can use it in hamburgers. You can grind it down and make sausage with it. Some really good stuff to hang on to. You know, just put it in a bag and throw it in the freezer if you want to save it. Let's flip this over. And I'm going to spin this around. Now you kind of can't see what I'm going to do to this side, but essentially what I'm going to do, you know what, I'll just do it from this side. You can see our meat over here. See how it's just kind of like a wall of fat right there, and we want to make this as aerodynamic as possible. So what I'm going to do is just kind of find where the edge is there of the meat. Alright, just kind of slice it all the way down. Get rid of that. Alright, look, mostly fat there. Got a little bit of meat off, that's okay. Put that aside. We'll follow that down. Little meat, mostly fat. Right? So that side's kind of aerodynamic a little bit. We're gonna go down here, get the rest of those trimmings up. gloves, clean hands, safe hand. Now this is the flat side over here, and there's a lot of fat right here. It gets fatter on this side. As you can kind of tell, the fat gets thicker over here. We're gonna leave the fat mostly alone on this side, but on this side we're gonna take most of that off. See what I'm talking about here? Where it's losing meat, gaining fat. We're gonna bring that down to hopefully a 1/4 inch. So let's just get our knife under here. Now it's not a good idea to cut towards your hand like I'm doing here, right? But I'm confident in my skills. If you're not, please don't do this. You're gonna hurt yourself. And we'll just peel back. I exposed some meat right there, but that's okay. We'll just peel this back as we cut. Again, if you expose some meat, not a big deal. You're gonna cover this stuff in, well, we're gonna cover this stuff in SPG, and you'll be fine. So we'll just take this down a little. Alright, then we're gonna move on to this section here. This guy. A lot of fat there, so we're just gonna try to make this aerodynamic. Start shallow if you want to. You can always take more off. You can't put stuff back. So we'll just start shallow. No meat exposed yet. This little flap right here, there's not a lot of fat here. There's some meat on this side, not a lot of fat here, so we're just gonna leave that alone. We'll just come in, try to make it as aerodynamic and smooth as possible. You know what? I'm just gonna take this off. Because again, want a nice, smooth area for the smoke to roll over on. So we'll just take that off. This is a huge chunk of fat in here, and I'm not so sure I want to get deep into that, but we're going to try to just get a little bit of this out. We'll just try to score away right here, get some of that decal out. Okay. Now this kind of fat you can usually just get a good grip on and pull it out. This is not being so cooperative. Okay, so we got that out. I'm thinking we're as thin or thick as I want to be on that flat side there. This is kind of like a little thing hanging off here. That's kind of weird. Never really seen that before, but that's okay. I'm going to leave this on. Our point side. Not much fat over here. On the reverse side, we got most of that thick fat cap off here. Might take this off. Wasn't really much going on there. I'm gonna round this off a little bit. And man, I'm telling you, this is so much easier to trim as the last brisket I did after sticking it in the freezer for 45 minutes. This is fantastic. This is exactly what I want. It's not frozen. It's just the cold hardened it up a little bit so you could trim the fat much easier. If you had a room temperature piece of brisket, you're trying to trim fat off it, it's mushy and it's slippery. You can't get, a real feel for it. It's just soft and it's very hard to trim. So throw it in your freezer for about 45 minutes. Your life will be a lot easier, alright? Okay, well that's as much trimming as I want to do, honestly. We're gonna get this hit with a binder, Worcestershire sauce for this one. kosher salt, fresh cracked ground black peppercorns, and some garlic powder. Some SPG. That's how we're gonna cook this thing tomorrow. Tomorrow, that's right. I'm gonna season this now, put it in my refrigerator overnight. I'm gonna start this cook about 6, 7 in the morning. So, let's get our seasoning going. Alright guys, check this out. Got a cooking sheet here. And we're gonna transfer this little baby brisket to. I want the fat cap up when I put it on the smoker. So we're going to hit the bottom side with our binder first and our seasonings first. So just get some Worcestershire sauce on there. Lather that sucker up. You don't need a lot because all you want is just a really thin coat all over the meat, on the sides. So we're gonna start with Morton kosher salt. So you can see how much you're putting on there. So you douse it with black pepper and garlic powder. You're probably not gonna be able to see the salt very well. So, and this is a big piece of meat. Be liberal with your seasonings. Briskets can handle it. So we're gonna start with salt. You don't want to cover it in salt, but you want a good coating. You want a good amount. Again, it's a big piece of meat. More seasonings. Just don't be shy, you know what I mean? Don't be afraid to put some seasoning on this bad boy. Make sure you get your sides. And check this out. It's an electric pepper mill. And I'm going to adjust this for coarse ground. Not too coarse. You don't want half peppercorns, but you don't want fine ground pepper either. You want some nice bark to this thing, so you want a decent sized peppercorn, freshly cracked. Invest in one of these things. This has saved my elbows, my forearms, so much hassle. Watch this. Look at that. You kidding me? Now what this is going to do in the fridge overnight is kind of a dry brine. It's going to pull the moisture out of the meat with that binder and pull the seasonings in. It's going to try to reabsorb the seasonings into the meat. Don't forget your sides. And for the last ingredient, none other than garlic powder. We're just going to lightly hit this with the garlic powder. Just lightly. You just want a light coat all around. You want the salt and pepper to be the major ingredients. And the garlic is just there for that added flavor. So we're just going to lightly dust with the garlic powder. Again, you don't want that garlic flavor to be too overpowering. So moving on to the top side, that's going to go on our smoker. We're going to get a little more binder on there. And yes, there's some pepper, salt, and garlic from the bottom side already stuck to the top of this thing. So let's just hit it with a quick binder. We're gonna go salt. Now, if you are one of the people who are afraid, oh no, I put too much seasoning on, you like dump a bunch on there in like one spot, just go like this. Just rub it around. No problem, just rub it in. This is a brisket packer. It can handle a lot of seasonings. And you just kind of like rub the excess off or rub it into the rest of the meat. You'll be fine. Hit it with our automatic pepper mill here. Last but not least, our garlic powder. Again, light coat. Don't need nothing crazy or extravagant. And there it is. SPG brisket. Trimmed, seasoned, binder Worcestershire sauce, ready for the fridge. So it is 6:30 p.m. right now. This is gonna sit in the fridge all night until I start cooking this thing at 7 a.m. tomorrow. So it's gonna sit in the fridge for 12, give or take, hours. This is gonna be amazing. So we'll see you guys tomorrow morning. All right, guys, sorry, I had to make some coffee. So it's 7:30 in the morning right now. As you can tell, it snowed last night. Sucks. But I'm gonna get my Weber chimney going with some Royal Oak hardwood lump charcoal, dump it in our firebox. We're gonna get those temperatures going to 250 degrees. I don't know what that is in Celsius. It'll be right here what that is in Celsius. And then we're gonna cook it for as long as it takes until I reach an internal temperature of probably 160. Then I'm gonna wrap it in foil, stick it back on. So let's get our firebox going. Alright, we're rolling a solid 250. We're gonna get this brisket on here. Like I said, it's been in the fridge overnight with our salt, pepper, and garlic on it. Thing of beauty. Right over here on the left side of the smoker, away from the firebox, the point is facing towards the firebox and our fat cap is on top. Let me show you what it looks like here in a second. Stick our probe here in the middle, kind of where the point is. I'm trying to aim for where the point meets the flat with this probe. That's what I'm going to shoot for. Got our probe in there. The internal is showing 37 degrees right now. Let me show you. So there we go. Point towards the firebox. Got some flames going in there because I got the door open. Right there in the middle on the left side. Alright, so we'll shut our door, we'll let this thing cook, and we'll check on it in maybe 4 or 5 hours. So we put this brisket on here this morning at 8:15. It is currently 3:15, and at 2 p.m. is when I had an internal temperature of 160 degrees Fahrenheit. At that point, I always hit the stall, so I went ahead and just wrapped it in aluminum foil and I stuck it back on the smoker. I added some more splits of hickory. You're not going to get any more smoke flavor or penetration at this point because it's wrapped in foil. So at this point we're just bringing the internal temperature up to 205 is what I'm going to shoot for. I want to be able to shred that point. We're going to slice the flat. So this has been on here for an hour and 15 minutes with foil, wrapped in foil. And once it hits that internal, I'm going to take it off, wrap it in a towel, throw it in a cooler, let it rest for 2 hours. Should be ready. Stick around. Alright, the time is 3:40 p.m. So it's been wrapped in foil for an hour and 40 minutes, and our internal temperature, I don't know if you can see that, is at 194. That's the cooking chambers number 1, internal is number 2 for the Inkbird 6 probe. Number 2 is saying 194. So we're almost there. So just in under 2 hours, we've went from 160 up 34 degrees after it's wrapped in foil. So you can kind of understand how wrapping it in foil accelerates that process of getting the internal temperature up. I'd say another half an hour to 40 minutes, this will get to 205 like I want. And then we'll wrap it, throw it in a cooler, let it calm down for 2 hours. Be right back. Alright guys, so according to my Inkbird application on my phone, cooking chambers 246 and our internal of our brisket has reached 205. So I'm going to pull this off of here now. Nice flex to it. Bring it over here on this towel. Just gonna wrap. By the way, use a towel you don't care about. Alright. I'm just gonna drop this in the cooler. We're gonna let it rest for 2 hours. There you have it. We've reached 205. Took it off, kept it in the foil, wrapped it in a towel, into the cooler, 2 hours, ready to go. Show you what it looks like when we pull it out. Alright guys, the moment we've all been waiting for. I know this is the moment I've been waiting for. Man, this smells good. Can't wait till you guys see this. See that jiggle? See how it jiggles? Man, that's how you know you did something right, when it jiggles like that. Look at that, man. Alright, so we've got our point over here, our flat on this side. This is a small brisket. This is much smaller than I'm used to cooking. So, let me get this glove off, get our Dal Strong 12-inch slicing knife. Nice little smoke ring down there, around top a little bit. There's some fat up top here. Great smoke ring, great bark. This thing is beautiful, it smells amazing. Look at that, man. Look at that brisket. It's just great. It just smells good. It's juicy. You have to let it rest. This is what you get when you let it rest. If I were to be cutting this up right off the smoker, you'd see juices running out all over the place and it would dry out, drier than a fart, super fast, right? This has got a nice smoke ring to it. Breaks right apart. Cheers. Oh man. I might have to just end this video right now so I can just eat this whole thing by myself. I mean, share it with family. Yeah, that's what I meant. SPG. We trimmed it, we seasoned it, stuck it in the fridge for 12 hours. I started this cook at 8:15 in the morning. At 2 p.m., the internal temperature is 160 degrees Fahrenheit, at which point I wrapped it in foil. Didn't add any beef broth or beer or anything like that to the foil, just straight wrapped it in foil, put it back on the smoker. Man, this is good. Look at that smoke ring in there. You see that? This is just a great brisket. You guys. Thank you again so much for watching. Don't forget to check out teespring.com/source/castcooking down in the description. All proceeds go to support what I do on this channel. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching again. We'll see you in the next cook.